Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome to another episode of Slot Journal. You know, after you've done one video, probably the hardest thing is trying to think of what am I going to do for the next one? And it's the same for me anyway, at least it was this week. Trying to think about different things we could talk about. It's especially hard when you don't have your track in place. It's going to be a while before I get my next track built. That's a process we'll work through for a long, and it's going to take a while. But so what can you talk about? Well, we got a couple different things. One of them, it's a control tower for the track. I haven't one I had used in a previous track before. These are the parts and pieces. I built this from scratch. Um, it needs a refresh. We're going to redo this tower a little bit, use some different exterior on it, do some different coloring on the thing. I'll show you how we do that as we go through the process, but at least want to talk about what we're going to do with this because I do have some special plans for that. The other thing we're going to talk about is a little bit of what I call a PastBlast. There's been some important cars over the last 20 or so years that, a lot of people have forgotten about. But back in the day, they were pretty critical, pretty, landmark cars. And I'm going to show you one of those today. It was one actually that I recently obtained, and take a look at that, and I'll talk about it a little bit. I've had an issue with not having a track. I want to have a temporary track. I thought about something I could just test some cars on, just to throw them on to run them, because people do like to see cars running. We'll talk about that and see how that worked out. But in any case, let's get going. Let's step. Okay, so let's talk about this control tower a little bit. This original tower was built for my very first track, so this has been over 20 years ago. Wanted something, modestly sized. It wasn't going to be integrated with grandstands or anything like that, or pits. Basically, I wanted to have an opportunity to just, try my hand at some scratch building, some ideas I had with various materials. You can see the box, the building portion, the main section is built from foam core. And then I printed out an exterior pattern with windows, doors, and things like that, and applied it to the outside. The observation deck, the glassed-in area above, was some clear plastic, which I'll tell you a little bit about later, painted, and then I trimmed out the windows area with basically pinstriping tape. Then there's a top deck, which I originally had put in there. I thought maybe I'd have some, people up there. And you can see some additional detailing. I did have some lights, a little, track speaker, things like this. And, overall, it worked very well. I wanted something that wasn't too big, that would, fit in nicely in a track, not obscure views or anything. And just, again, something pretty modestly sized. And it worked well for a while. But it outlived its usefulness as I built my second track, which was larger, so it's just been sitting gathering dust for a long, long time. Okay, so what are we going to do with this thing? Well, first plan is I'm going to open it up. I've started cutting a hole. This was the original door. Probably going to put a larger window, at least in the first floor, and maybe some other windows in the second floor, because we're going to light this thing from the inside. And the inside, I want you to be able to look in here, maybe see a couple people. Second floor is not going to be that important, but again, it's going to be lit. I might see a person standing by the window or whatever in there. And then that top floor, I'm going to have to work out how I'm going to get that, lighting in there to light that as well. So we're going to insert a full floor level in here in both of these, and then at the top put a new floor in. So this is going to look quite different. The exterior, I'm going to cover this with something a little bit different, a little more, maybe a little more contemporary. The other section I have here, what this originally was, have you ever seen those Ferrero Rocher little candies that are wrapped in the round ball? balls, about the size of a golf ball. Well, that's what these came in. They have a lot of different plastic sizes you can get of those candy sets. This one, I think, had 24 of those. But I look at stuff all the time, and I say, well, what would that be in 1/32nd scale? What can I make out of that? And this really worked perfectly size-wise. It worked good. And again, just made the bottom so it would fit onto the, the base, the main building. And then put this on here. And then again, this was foam core too. Originally, I had the name of the track, but again, this is all going to be redone. I don't know if I'm going to have a observation deck on the top this time. I may just put a cover on here, do something different with the top to simplify it. Because, again, you try to think of a building. Well, this building isn't that large, so trying to put stairs in here is, maybe not the best idea. Best thing maybe would just do ladder access from floor to floor. So I'm kind of leaning that way. So there's a lot of detail that's going to be going in this that wasn't in here before. And I would mention too that, this is not going to be for my next track. I think I might have mentioned that before, but I have a plan. This is probably going to be given to somebody. I haven't decided yet, but once it's completed, I think it'll be something that, might go on just about anybody's track. Doesn't won't obscure your view of driving too much. You don't need to have a lot of space for it. And, so hopefully that'll work. So that's going to be the control tower project, and we'll be kind of working through that over the next few weeks. So hopefully you'll follow along and we can, see how that goes. A recent purchase has given us an opportunity to take a brief look back, in this case, a little over 20 years ago, to think about a car that was really a landmark for Scalextric, the Mercedes CLK LM GT1. The real-life CLK LM had a successful racing career, winning every single championship event in the 1998 FIA GT season, retiring only at the 1998 24 Hours of Le Mans due to engine issues. When the GT1 class was eliminated for the FIA's 1999 season, the CLK LM was succeeded by the GT prototype CLR, a great-looking but infamous car due to its tendency to do somersaults at the 1999 24 Hours of Le Mans. In the slot car world, Fly was building on its reputation of providing beautifully detailed and, at that time, fast cars that were growing in popularity. Established manufacturers were forced to up their game, and in 2000, Scalextric made the CLK LM their flagship offering of sorts. It was low and fast with a nice level of detail and good performance for the time. The car was featured on the cover of the 2000 catalog and in many marketing materials as well as books about Scalextric cars. For some years, I've owned other examples of the CLK LM, a few art and cars that were originally included in some sets, and a blue Ninco that I picked up a few years ago. Recently, I realized I didn't have the scaly version, which seemed like an oversight, so I remedied the situation. So that's a little bit of background about that car. And here's the car that actually inspired that little bit, Mercedes CLK. This is just like it came. I mean, you didn't think I was going to buy a new one, did you? But this one was almost new. As you can see, it's really nice shape. Very well kept for a car that's, that old. But again, like I said, it's sleek and it's reasonably fast, again, for its time. And, it's a fun car to have. It's a really nice looking car. Just one of the points I try to make it, it's good to have fast cars. But sometimes we collect for other reasons too, just cars that, maybe mean a lot to us or that were important in their day. So again, it's just another fun thing. So as I mentioned before, I've been kicking around this idea of just putting a little bit of a track together, maybe not a lot, just so I can run cars around. Again, I'm just make sure they work. Just see them run and play around a little bit, just kind of a little mini test track. But I put it together, and it wasn't just an oval. I actually had some interesting little curves in it. But, try to fit it on a 3 by 6 foot table. By the time I was done, you can take a look at it. I had no room for borders. I didn't even bother to put, any kind of barriers on it or anything because I just realized, I don't think that's going to work. So I'll probably just go without for a while unless I can come up with another solution later on. So that's where we are with that. For more content, visit us online at slotjournal.com. Did I actually hear somebody say something about an unboxing? I mean, you people are relentless. I mean, can't I have anything just cross the threshold of my home without having to share it with the whole internet? I mean, it's all good fun until somebody, gets their finger cut off trying to make you people happy. All right. This came today. Let's have a look, shall we? There we go. Champion Motor Speedway in Pontiac, Michigan. This is a McLaren M6, brand new in the box. This is actually a Revell monogram car. It was a special edition made for, was it Federal Mogul? Nice little car. See how it goes in the track. Obviously not as fast as something like a Thunder Slot or something like that, but pretty nice little car. Something we'll have some fun to track, and it actually is a pretty nice looking model. And then all of my Revell monograms have actually been pretty good runners, nice and smooth. So hopefully this one will, be just as good. So there you go. Happy now? I hope so. Talk to you soon.